Hello and welcome, Eugene Public Library. Thank you so much for having us tonight. First and foremost, we're really excited to be able to offer this program inside of a home of books. So thank you for being this community hub for us and having us here tonight, Eugene Public Library. Yay! So, we are Wordcrafters in Eugene. We are a nonprofit organization that believes in the power of story. Stories tell us who we are and who we can be. Wordcrafters empowers writers and readers by increasing access to community, craft, and inspiration. We provide a home for sharing knowledge and stories with each other and future generations to cultivate a more empathetic, creative, and courageous world. We're so grateful and excited to have all of the young writers and the support of their families and friends here tonight. So just right off the bat, can we just congratulate ourselves for being here, for all the hard work that went into these stories. It's really I know this time of year is a time of accomplishments, and this is a big one, I think, on a young person's creative journey. This is outside of academia. This is about you beginning your journey as a writer or continuing it as a young person. So my name is Jorah. That's like Jorah the Explorer, or that dude from Game of Thrones, if that helps you. I am our Writers in the Schools coordinator. That is a piece of Wordcrafters programming in which we go into different underserved school settings and offer some direct writing instruction. I myself am a poet, so I work with people around the subject of spoken word, but we also go in under a variety of creative writing means, and it's one of the many programs that we are lucky enough to be able to offer the community with the support of awesome people like you and our funders. So we also offer youth programs such as the Fiction Fantastic Contest, and I'd like to draw your attention to a couple more. We have summer camps going on, coming right up. There's information about that on the back table. We also have an ongoing book club called Rainbow Reads that happens right here at the library. It's an LGBTQIA book club. The books are free and provided. That's an exciting new offering that we're happy to do in partnership with the library. And we are now doing a once a month, it's called Write Club. It's a once a month opportunity for young writers, such as those of you who are in the room tonight, to keep working on your skills, to come and share in the excitement of words with other people outside of the school setting where you just get to come and be creative. So Write Club is going on once a month. All that info is back there. And if you're an adult writer in the room, or you have an adult writer in your life, someone who wants to work on their creative journey, wherever you are starting, pro to novice, we try to meet people wherever you are at on your writing journey. We've probably got something for you throughout our year. So if you're an adult writer, there's info for you back there as well. There are also some cool stickers for adults. There's definitely stickers for kids, but there's also some cool stickers for adults. So please be sure to pick stuff up if you're interested. I mean, who doesn't like stickers? So yes, lots to see back there. I'll let you go discover it yourself. I don't want to talk too long about our adult programming tonight, but I do want to once again just thank the adults in the room for supporting these young writers, and also to thank the folks in the community. I know I can see some here who support Wordcrafters. So we really do rely entirely on generous donations from folks like yourselves, from people in the community who help us provide this contest, because it's really important to us that this is a freely available contest. Any student in Lane County can participate from any school or homeschool. And so in order to keep that going, we just really appreciate the ways that other people help us keep going. So I want to tell you a little bit about the contest. And yes, this is the part, this is the lead-in, this is the build-up. But it's really, it's exciting to note that this contest, it started in 2014. So there's some legacy going on now. You're not just participating this year, but you're part of a history of this contest. This year we had 143 entries from 27 schools across Lane County and homeschools. And we have 14 judges. So these are all volunteers who just gave of their time. And it's wonderful and delightful to read the stories, but it is also a really big time commitment. So I'd like to take a moment to thank our 14 judges who did 2 rounds of judging in order to bring us all here together tonight. So we can give them a little bit of a big Thank you for your community service, and also you're welcome, because I know reading the stories are fun. We also have, all kinds of teachers and administrators. I want to thank our Wordcrafters board members, and most of all, or I don't know, there's a lot of, all our staff works hard, but when it comes to this contest, our Fiction Fantastic coordinator, Drea Lee, who's in the back there, who's been the person that you've been coordinating with, is really not just this year, but every year, just puts in a tremendous amount of effort to make this contest happen. So thank you, Drea. I also want to draw attention to our other staff members who are awesome and amazing. Joe Bartlett and our executive director, Geraldine Evans, over here in the corner, making it happening. This is a night where, if your hands, if you were feeling like you needed some extra hand strength, this is what that night is about. This is a night for clapping. That's what I'm saying. So we're just getting started. We're going to clap all night long. So this is just a warm up for when we get to say yay for the kids. So thank you. Lastly, I'd like to say thanks to our main sponsors, Teach Right Now and Luminary Press, who created the beautiful anthology of winning stories that all our winners are going to go home with tonight. Thank you, Luminary, for being our publisher. Excellent job. It happened for years. And I'd also like to thank these organizations that make our youth programs possible. Thank you to the City of Eugene, the Elizabeth George Foundation, the Eugene Public Library, the James F. and Marion L. Miller Foundation, the Lane Arts Council, and the Oregon's Art Commission. Thank you so much for your generosity and helping us to be here tonight. Ooh, let's get that clapping going. Okay, so before I introduce officially our celebrity judge and keynote speaker for the night, I want to set us up for success in what's about to happen next. So if you are a young writer who is going to come up and receive a certificate tonight, can you raise your hand for me real quick? All right, cool. Now let's pretend we're all going to a green room behind a curtain where no one else can see us, because I'm going to give a little bit of instruction. Let's just pretend no one else can hear us. We don't have that option here. This is normally what I would do if we're staging this theatrically, but we're all in it together. Bear with me. Here's what's going to happen. When your category, so if you're in elementary, when the category of elementary is called, you can kind of perk up your ears. Okay, my category is, I'm paying attention. Not that you won't be anyways, but okay. So it might be me. And then if your name is called, what you're going to do is you're going to come up this way. And of course, here we go. Joe will demonstrate. You're going to come up this way, come to this side. Our celebrity judge, who until this moment apparently shall remain nameless. I'm telling you that they're going to come out from behind the curtain. It's going to be so exciting. Okay, so celebrity judge will hand you your certificate. Judge will be here. You come stand together. And if it needs to be for an awkward amount of time, that is okay. Make sure that your people have the opportunity to take the picture they want to take. People who want to take pictures, please feel free. If you need to stand or do a little maneuvering, please make sure that you get to take the picture of your young writer. So we're all set up for that. So the picture will be taken together, and then you're going to keep moving right on over here to this podium. I'm going to step away and turn the podium over to you so you can read the selection of your story that you brought for us to hear tonight. Now, the main thing I want to make sure is that we can hear you. So what that means is that we're going to adjust the microphone to your height. I'm pretty loud, not everyone is, and that is normal and okay, but it's important that you put your mouth close to, sanitarily close to the microphone. And so when you think about how you're just looking pretty much for an alignment, and such that were you to lean in any closer, you might give that microphone a little bit of a kiss like it was a frog in a story, okay? So, perfect, and I will be here to help. I'll step away, you will read, and then when you're done reading, when you're done reading, you will finish your journey by coming over to this table and receiving a copy of the book and your end goodies over there. So it'll be a beautiful swoop, starting here, picture here, reading here. Oh, and we would love for everyone to sign a book for us. There'll be one book for everyone to sign, and then you'll get your book and you'll head back to your people. And if there's any confusion, we'll work it out in the moment. It'll be great. Does that feel comfortable? Does everyone feel a little bit more like they know what's going to happen? Awesome. Okay. Love it. Love it. So now I get to tell you who our celebrity judges. Da-da-da-da, curtains open. Please. Yeah, let's do it. We are delighted to have our celebrity judge, Rosiee Thor, author of the YA novel, Tarnished Are the Stars, who will be giving an early keynote. I love it. I want to make sure this microphone is, yeah, there we go. I'm too tall for this, to be honest, so I think it's going to work out well. Okay, so after we, my corner now. No, actually, I'm going to welcome you to this microphone. We're going to get it going. Hello. There we go. Fantastic. Rosie set. I'm set. Okay, so we will be moving through the categories, starting with our youngest writers to our high school readers. And so the first stories that we get to honor come from what we call our K2 Spotlight. So this is kindergarten, first and second grade writers. The K2 Spotlight stories do not go through a rigorous judging process, but instead are a curated collection of stories. So we have 3 amazing K2 stories this year. This is the most we've ever published for this category, so we're very excited by what came in. These stories were so charming. So the first young writer that I'd like to, actually, I'm going to ask Rosie to tell us who the first young writer is.
I don't have a piece of paper. So.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that you don't. Let's do this one. And then
okay, so
these ones don't have a placement, so these are all just K2 Spotlight stories. You have something for me. I don't. You don't.
It's fine. They're just in the wrong order. We'll figure it out.
Fantastic. So
are they in the right? Were they in the right order? This order does not matter to these ones. This is who you're looking for right now. Okay, so we're doing it the other. Okay, great. Yeah. Great. So just for this category.
Okay. So first young writer in the K2 Spotlight category is.
We have Leora Tabak with the story of Running Deer and Her Tribe.
All right, and she is not here, but perhaps at home on the live stream. So, yay! And do we have our other? We have. Oh,
sorry about that.
Nope, that was on me. I should have read better.
I did that out of order. That was on me.
Okay, next young writer in the K2 Spotlight category, who I do very much believe is here. Let's welcome
Nova John Hart with Silver.
There we go.
I'm gonna pose for a picture. Okay, let's come over here.
Awesome, there we go. Picture pose. Woo! Perfect. Yay!
When she got to the treasure chamber, the most strange thing happened. Out of the mist came a ghost. "What are you doing here, said the ghost. I was just exploring. I had no idea that it belonged to you, said Silver.
Neva, thank you for kicking things off. What an amazing first reading. That was wonderful. And so we have one more young author to welcome. Who else is in our K2 spotlight?
We have Hazel Rollin.
Hazel! Woo!
Hello. You want to come up close to our picture? I'm going to go ahead and stay a little bit so we're not moving. There you go. All right. There you go. Certificate. Teamwork.
Teamwork.
This story is called The Adventure of Pets by Hazel Rollin. It's about a dog named Lila who travels to Eugene to visit Hazel and her pet rats. Lila and the rats go on adventures and meet a mean old man named Mr. Blood and his pig Goldilocks. Hazel is going to read chapter 4.
Pets make friends. The rats had climbed a tree to hide from Goldilocks, the pig. Lila had dug a hole to hide from Goldilocks, the pig, but you could still see her legs and back and tail and head was sticking up. Mr. Blood was very old, so he took naps. So he went inside to take his nap. Right when he went in, then Goldilocks saw Lila's head, tail, back, legs sticking up from the hole. She walked over and said, "Come out. I'm friendly. I'm a pig. Come out. What even are you doing in that hole?" Lila came out and said, "My friends, the rats are up in the tree. I bet they would like to make friends." Goldilocks walked over to the tree and said, "Hey rats, come down. I'm Goldilocks. I'm friendly." And that is how they made friends.
Thank you so much, Hazel and Mom. What wonderful first readings. Yay. It takes a lot of courage to read out loud in front of other people. For most of us of any age, it is one of the scariest things that we are ever asked to do. Statistically, it's people's highest fear is public speaking. So I just want to acknowledge how awesome it is and how brave it is for everyone who's here reading tonight. It's a really, really lovely opportunity to let us hear you. So thank you to our young writers for starting us out. That's amazing. Okay.
No. How many of you are planning to read tonight? Amazing. Oh my gosh, okay, that's amazing. If any of you are all nervous about reading, I know that I was not even that many years ago, just a couple years ago, I was a grown adult when I was still scared of public speaking. So the fact that you're all doing this is amazing. The thing that really helped me overcome that, I don't know if this is going to help any of you, but when you get up to speak about something and it's something that you know really well, you are the person in the room who knows it best. You are the expert. And so you're talking about something that the rest of us don't know anything about. So if you mess up, we won't notice. So hopefully that helps anyone who's feeling a little nervous. Also, we're all big fans of you, so maybe that'll help. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Rosie. Thank you. Yeah, big fans. And yeah, no one else knows what the story is supposed to be. So
yeah. If you mess up a word, you're the only one who knows. Unless you make a big face, and then we'll all know.
Which will probably be
fine. We enjoy it. It's a good photo opportunity.
speaking of the possibility of saying things wrong, if by chance either Rosie or I mispronounce your name, please tell us and let's make sure that we get your name said correctly. So that's really important to us that we honor the right pronunciation of your name. So moving forward into the elementary school category. This is an historic moment for the Fiction Fantastic contest because we have 2 co-authored stories that have placed as finalists in the elementary category. That has never happened before. We love that extra dose of collaboration of 2 young writers working together. And we also have a tie for one of the placements in this category. So this was a very hot time for the elementary school category. So we're going to start with our honorable mention, which was co-authored by, and I'm going to welcome our celebrity judge.
I'm opening my
too.
book so that they can sign it.
Ooh!
I want everybody's signatures. I feel like I'm a kid at Comic-Con and I'm about to meet like all of my favorite like cool actors. Because I read all of your stories like, I don't know, 3 months ago, and they've been living in my head ever since. And I've been like, these writers are so cool, they're so smart and funny, and I want to meet them so badly. And you're gonna come up here and get your certificate, and then you're gonna run away, and I want you to sign my book. So, yes, our honorable mention is The Magic Redwood by Greta Rice and Pan. I want to mention, I did this in the wrong order. I also want to mention that this story is just a wonderful ode to friendship and adventure. And I found out today that it was co-authored, and that makes so much sense. You're right over here. Because it's so clearly written by 2 friends.
They're both things, right?
Yeah.
Right? Come on over. Want to show your story?
Big photo.
Yeah, go. Want to show it off? Squish. Come on.
Squish together.
Yeah. You're going to show your certificate? There you go.
Yeah.
He's sticking my
Yeah. All right. And then, are you reading together? Or are you reading first?
Yeah, I'm reading first.
Fantastic.
The Magic Redwood. The Magic Redwood. Chapter 1. One day, Violet woke up at camp. It is going to be another happy day, she thought. After they ate breakfast, the camp counselor, Lucy, told them that they were going on a hike. We are going to have to choose partners, said Lucy. Violet chose her best friend, Rosie. When they got to a picnic area, Lucy announced, "You can go explore, just don't go too far and stay with your partner." As Rosie and Violet tramped through the woods, they heard the tinkling of bells. They followed the tinkling sound and found a giant redwood tree. It seemed like the tinkling sound came from this tree. "Let's look around the base of the tree," said Rosie, but they found nothing. "We can't give up," said Violet. "Let's climb the tree." "I don't know about that," said Rosie. "Come on," said Violet. "Okay," replied Rosie. When Violet got to the first branch, she squealed in delight. I found a puddle." Rosie almost fell off the branch. And we drew a picture for the cover that I would like to show.
Yay! Come on over and get your books, friends. Oh, Rosie, that one had your name in it.
I know. I promise that I wasn't biased. I promise.
Great. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So, who has placed in the 3rd place category for the elementary school? Category. Who's in 3rd place for elementary school?
Well, let me tell you, there were so many good stories that we actually have a tie. So I'm going to call them out one by one, but you placed in the same spot. And these 2 stories actually have a lot in common. They both made me laugh so much. I was smiling the whole time I read them, and they have stuck with me in a way I could not possibly have imagined. I've been thinking about these stories nonstop. They're so funny and clever and adventurous and just cool. I just really love them so much. So we'll start with one, Goblins Around the World by Owen Rudzek and Saharsh Chireddy.
These co-authors, it's amazing.
So much. So much. It's so good. Okay, great.
Yes. All right, come on over, friends.
Goblins Around the World. Chapter 1, the Turbo Situation. I love Turbos! Yo, Goblin, did you eat on Turbos again? Asked Gabe. No, it's only like 7 of them. You know that the pediatrician said to not eat that many Turbos, right? Fine, but I have one more because spelunky for hours and I'm starving. No, said Gabe. We got lots more kids. Besides, we're goblins. We don't need to eat at all. Besides, why are Turbos blue taco shells? I don't know, but either way, I know we don't need them, but they taste so good.
Let's keep going. The two goblins continued through the cave. After a short while, Gabe said, "What's that green glow in the distance? Let's see what it is." The closer they got, or as they got closer to the glow, the cave kept getting narrower. At last, they found the source of the light. It was a large emerald ring of fire at the end. "Holy moly! What is this? Are we hallucinating?" Garber asked. "I don't think so. So what do you think it is?" "Let's touch it." Gabe grabbed Gobber's backpack to stop him, but it was too late. As Gobber touched the glowing ring, in an instant they both disappeared into the ring.
Seriously, you all have to read that story. The twist ending had me absolutely on the floor. It's incredible.
I would really like the audiobook version if they could just
Right?
narrate the whole thing. That was a wonderful reading, you guys. Okay, so who's our other third place
Yes, we've
winner?
got another third place winner who also has some really cool names in the story. We've got Gabe and Gobber in this one, and I'm recalling that we have Biscuit and Bellini in this one, which is Finding Family by Sophia Amin. And a wonderful gorilla, if I'm recalling correctly. I'm obsessed with the names you used.
I'm reading chapter 5 of my book, and it's called Finally Family. Spot was staring at 2 tall adult giraffes. He slowly walked closer. As he did, so did the 2 giraffes. When they stepped out of the shadows, tears started rolling down Spot's and the other giraffes' faces. It was Spot's parents. "Mom, Dad, is it really you?" Spot asked. "Of course it is. We missed you so much. And Bella and Skylar? Oh, we remember when you guys got taken, but don't worry. We know where your parents are. And yours too, Ava and Winnie. How do you know our names?" "We met your mom and your dad. They told us they were looking for you. So we teamed up, and each day we made a plan to look for you guys. We already shut down a different zoo, but they reunited lots of animals with their families. But you guys weren't in it. But come on, we'll take you guys to your families." As soon as the friends arrived at the den, they all started crying and ran to their parents. That night, they planned to leave the next day, and they would all live close together. They got in bed, and the rain calmed them to sleep.
Thank you, third place. That was really, I love that we get it's like bonus stories. We just get more good stories. Neat. All right. So let's find out who is our second place winner in the elementary school category.
Right. Well, our second place story is a thrilling sci-fi heist. And that had me thinking we have cool, very cool action music in the background the whole time I was reading it. I was like, dun, 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 the whole time. It was great. And it's The Elevator by Leo Cool.
All right, Leo.
do we need to move over?
I just got a little microphone on the left.
Oh, okay.
On the left.
Here,
That's
let's move
fine.
over just a little bit. We told you it could get awkward.
Yeah. Well, I tried to take 1,000, so that
Good,
we get the
that's
best.
good, so we get the best one. That's
Yeah,
like
so it's
keep
not just the
focused.
one, and
Yeah.
then
All right, awesome. Go ahead.
The coats were big, way too big. But fortunately, Roland had 2 pairs of shades in his pants pocket, and when we put them on, we looked pretty cool. We practically ran to the stairs, and the guy at the front desk seemed very suspicious of us, so we didn't say a word. I was not going to go on the elevator, not if I could help it. I had enough experience with elevators that day, so we took the stairs. It was on the 20th floor that Roland decided we would wipe out before we got to the top, so we ended up taking the elevator after all. Something about this building feels big, too big, Roland said, looking around the elevator as if he was expecting a voice to come on a speaker and for us to get stopped again. Pretty much every building in New York is big, I said, not knowing what he meant. But before he could explain, I noticed that I never pressed the button on this elevator. We weren't even moving. I'm stupid, I said. I forgot to press the button on the elevator. That's very strange, said Roland, frowning. There isn't any button for the 40th floor. There's one for the 39th floor and one for the 41st. Well, there may not be a button for the 40th floor now, but you can tell that there used to be, I said, pointing to a circle where the button used to be. And someone ripped it off so no one could find them, Roland finished for me. Which floor should we go to? Roland asked. 39th for sure, I said, pressing the button. Are you sure? He asked. Yes. I wasn't going to go any higher than necessary. When we got to the 39th floor, the elevator made a little ding, and we got off. I was angry and shocked to find that there weren't any staircases leading up to the 40th floor. We had come all this way for nothing.
Who among us has not gotten into an elevator and forgotten to press the button?
So human. I've got to say too, I'm so intrigued. I feel I, unlike Rosie, have not read these stories, and I know a lot of you have,
You're
only
in for a
read.
treat.
I am so excited and thrilled that I now get to take home this anthology. So I did want to mention that, of course, all our winners are taking one home. But if you, like me, would also like to have one for your very own self, we do have additional copies to purchase at the back there on your way out. So, lastly, in the elementary school category, who's our first place winner?
Well, our first place winner wrote a science fiction story with a really emotionally resonant, horror motif in it. The whole time I was like, wow, this is really intense, emotionally, just really hitting me so hard. And I'm so excited to say that it is Project Infinite by Adrian White.
Woo-hoo!
We need to move. Okay. All right.
I'll read. Great. Okay. So every once in a while, I get the lovely pleasure of reading someone's story, and I'm so excited to read Adrian's story today. So Adrian sent me an excerpt. Very thrilled. I know you will be excited. Project Infinite. My eyes fluttered open. I felt less weak, but still weird. I rolled over so I could see what else was going on. The whole room was lit up with turquoise, mismatched bulbs. Instead of computers, the room was covered in Post-it notes and vials filled with a strange red liquid. Harley and Drew were at a desk, staring into a jar with the same red liquid. I pulled at the straps that were holding me in place, but they wouldn't loosen. I tried to sit up, but I had massive aches all over. What just happened? What did they do to me? But then Harley had looked up from the jar and ran over to me. Infinity, you're finally up. Is everything okay? Any aches or anything out of the ordinary? She smiled, her tone softening. What did you guys do? I murmured, my voice cracking. We told you everything we were going to do. If everything went well, you should be able to manipulate some small amount of blood. Suddenly there was a loud knock at the door. Harley, Drew, is everything okay? Somebody asked. Yeah, we were just finishing up, Harley reassured. Are you sure? Because we all really need you, a couple of other people said. This time it was louder. 1 second, Harley replied. No, now, someone else demanded. Louder. Harley started to remove the straps. The section in the screen opened. Who is your friend, Harley? She doesn't belong here. I looked up and was startled by everyone that was watching us. They all stared at us with blank, almost threatening stares. Harley grabbed my arm, trying to get me out the side door. My blood started to boil. I gripped the table, struggling to breathe. Infinity, come on, Harley yelled, almost out the door. I couldn't keep it anymore. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. When I opened my eyes, pools of blue blood surrounded me. Dead people surrounded me. But they weren't people. They were robots. Infinity, come on, we have to get out of here, Harley screamed. This time, she didn't wait. She grabbed my hand and pulled me out the door. I would have pulled away, but I didn't know what to think. I just killed hundreds of people without even knowing.
I know what I'm doing tonight. I'm taking this book home, making some tea. I gotta find out what happens. Cool. Thank you so much to everyone who participated in the elementary school category, including those young writers who we said we had 143 entries overall. And to anyone who's watching at home or who didn't place this year, doesn't mean your story wasn't great and awesome. And please keep going at it. It's such a big accomplishment just to finish a story. Just to be willing to take it out of your own imagination and put it down on paper and share it with someone is a huge accomplishment. Takes a lot of bravery, takes a lot of follow through. So thank you so much to our youngest writers. I'm excited to move us forward into the middle grades. The easiest time of life, right? Yay! So the middle school category is always a fan favorite with the judges, and this year's stories did not disappoint. One of the finalists is one of our Write Club writers. As I mentioned, we have a monthly youth workshop called Write Club, and there is also a tie in this category. So many good stories. So we'll start again with our honorable mention. Who is our honorable mention in the middle school category?
Well, our honorable mention is a story of found family on the high seas. It's The Wellerman's Gift by Keiko Weibel.
Do you want to show your certificate?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so my story is The Wellerman's Gift, and I have absolutely no chapters, so yeah. My hand reached for the dagger. I grabbed it, and words formed, ghostly white in the air. Well done, they said. You're not afraid to look death in the eye. The curse will be lifted so long as you seal the vow that when death comes for you, you will not run from it, but instead go with it, for all mortal life must come to an end. The words faded, and I slit my palm just enough to let a drop of blood fall to the floor. A rumble shook the cave. The dagger glowed golden, and I knew I had done the right thing. I left the cave to hear the sound of joyful shouting. The victor came toward me, and I caught a rope that swung down from the bow. I clambered up as the ship left the cavern, and the light of a new day greeted us. The captain's eyes were full of tears, and I knew I would find a place on the ship, and had a feeling my life was about to get way more interesting.
So much wisdom. Neat. Okay, so oh no, we're not okay. All right. So who do we get to welcome to the stage for our third place middle school winner?
Our third place middle school winner, we have an intricate mystery of a town's strange history. It's Lylan's Secret by Jude Fresh.
All right.
Chapter 1. It was 4 o'clock, and I sat in the back of Mom's old Ford Pinto reading A Wrinkle in Time.
Mom was quiet as she drove through the green countryside. She always was. And just as I neared the end of my chapter, the rusty car came to a sudden stop underneath a shady grove of trees. "Here we are," she said as she turned to me and smiled. She then leaned over my seat and unlocked the door to my left. I slowly bent the corner of my page, and as I got out, the old car seemed to shake. Mom took my hand and led us up a small hill, and as we approached, the festival came into sight. It wasn't much, just a few small rides and about 8 tables sitting on top of a large hill. The hill overlooked most of our town, and near an empty chair was a small creek with water flowing gently for about 100 feet until coming across a large water pipe. I didn't know it at the time, but this pipe would run across the entire town, feeding into the sewage lines in our homes. A woman with curly blonde hair stepped towards Mom. "Sharon?" she asked as she smiled. Mom walked forward and hugged her, and as I talked, I found my way to an empty seat near the creek and sat down. The summer of Lyman, Texas, 1980, was a hot summer, reaching temperatures of 112 degrees, hot enough to make warm sweat run down the side of your face, and your shirt cling to your body like a wet towel. I reached down my arm, pulling out a cold Pepsi from a bucket of ice. School started in late August, and as I thought of it, I couldn't help staring at the creek, the water smoothly running down its divine path through rocks and fallen twigs, all the way to that water pipe. I turned around, hearing the faint tap of a finger on a microphone. Mayor Bradfield stood on top of a large platform, happily staring down at his wife, Mary. He was shorter in real life, and was wearing brown leather boots with gray hairs poking through his straw hat. After a minute, he finally smiled and said loudly, "Wow, it's nice today." Then he took off his hat and set it on a nearby box. As he kept talking, I turned my chair back to the water and drank my pop slowly. After a minute, Mom came and sat down next to me. "Don't you want your pizza?" she asked, glancing at my empty plate. "No," I mumbled hoarsely as I dug the heel of my shoe into the soft dirt. "Are you not having a good time?" I looked up. "I guess not." She put her hand on my back, then sat up and walked away. Not long after, I found myself looking at the water, and as it slowly streamed into a small pool, my eyes widened and I leaned my head cautiously forward, craning my neck. A small stream of red ran into the mud puddle, and a bloody hand wrapped around the edge of the metal pipe. As I watched in horror, a man in a faded yellow hazmat suit emerged, and as soon as the town grew into a hushed silence, he began to scream.
Wow, dude, what an incredible description. Ooh, wow. And may I just say,
I'm really excited to see some horror in the bunch.
right? I am like, oh, my mind is already quite blown. And also, there's some really nice dapper outfits going on tonight. Shout out to the writer wear. All right, so second place is
It's our tie.
Hi, okay.
Yeah.
So let's get after it. Who's tied for second place in the middle school category of the 2023 Fiction Fantastic Awards?
Well, first up, we have a very, I would say, atmospheric story. This story, I felt like I was in it. I was in the words. I was experiencing it as it was happening. It's very well written. It's The Criminal Poet by Grace Phillips.
This is The Criminal Poet. The name on Agnes's mother's grave was Magnolia Lemonade, but sometimes tombstones lie. Magnolia was not just Agnes's mother. She raised 3 other children from 3 separate husbands as well, Curtis and the youngest 2, Millicent and Jane. Agnes was a product of her mother's second unsuccessful marriage. She and her siblings learned at an early age to ignore her mother's antics. Perhaps you should take notes. If she was depressed, hide the youngest children. If she didn't feed you, do it yourself. And most importantly, never, ever argue with her. Hiding became a classic part of their worrying routine. Broom closets, under the couches, kitchen cabinets. 2 of Agnes's siblings now had families of their own. Agnes, however, knew she would never marry. She had no beauty like her youngest sister, Millicent, or the handsome physique of her brother, Curtis. Plus, after her troubled childhood, Agnes couldn't dare see that happen to more children. The one difference from her siblings was similarity with her mother was her constitution. Magnolia Lemonade could have brought down the whole family if she wanted. The home that the Lemonides grew up in couldn't even be considered a cottage. It was more of a shack. It had 2 stories if you counted the attic where the children used to sleep. One dirty window kept their skins from becoming ivory. 3 beds and a crib that Jane, the littlest, slept in past the age of 8 until their mother could afford another bed. The rest of the downstairs was a wreck when Magnolia still lived there. No Lemonade could ever afford college, let alone school. Everything cost more than they had. All of the Lemonides still lived in the dilapidated cottage for sentimental reasons and Curtis's wife's superstitions. Even though she was nearly 32, Agnes shared the attic with Jane, the only Lemonides without spouses or children. Millicent, recently widowed and mother to a beautiful baby boy, had been discussing better living situations. But Agnes and the other family members were oddly attached to the nondescript home and its rusting memories of cold nights and hungry stomachs.
Grace! Such an apt name for this writer. Come on. All right, who is our other second place
Our other second place winner wrote a story of a series of epic battles. And I, for one, felt like I was right there in the trenches. It's the Battle for Durantar by Kai Suzumura.
Right.
Did you want to read or? Okay, do you have it or? Did you bring it up? Oh, do you want to look at it?
There we go.
Yeah, fancy. Yeah, if anyone doesn't have their thing with them, you can read it out of the book.
Good practice for when you're published with your own book and you'll be reading straight out of it. This is exactly how it works.
Okay, this is chapter 2. Ronbo, leader of the Crow clan and commander of their fighters, sat at his desk. He was filling out paperwork for casualties. It was a sad job, seeing the names of Crow clan members who had died. All of the names of people on the list he knew personally. Most of these deaths were members who had died in a battle that started several weeks ago, when a goblin warlord besieged the clan's headquarters. At first, his fighters had pushed back the goblins, but eventually, being made up of mercenaries and not trained soldiers, the clan was driven back. Ronwell finished filling out the pile of documents in front of him and stood up. He stretched and yawned, trying to shake off the fatigue. There came a knock at his door, and a young member of the Crow clan entered his study. "Ah, Jacob, I've been expecting you," Ronwell said, sitting back down. "What information do you have for me today?" "Sir, I'm here to inform you that we need reinforcements. We lost 24 members overnight. The enemy launched a surprise attack on us." Jacob said that. Ronwell cursed under his breath. "There is some good news, sir. Although we thought they would overrun us, the goblins have retreated and haven't been seen since last night. We sent a scout team to investigate. We expect an update soon." "Right then. I will send a note up to our allies. It's about time for someone more fit for this battle to show up," Ronwell said. After a moment of silence between the two, another knock at the door revealed Norvid, a lieutenant of the Crow clan scouts. "Sir, you're needed at the front gate. Scouts and I just returned. A band of orcs followed us to the fort, and we barely made it inside the gates before the guards caught up to us. You need to come quickly. We're under full assault." Ronwell stood hastily and strode to a large cabinet and opened its squeaky doors. Inside was an aging rack of weapons, their dusty metal catching the waning fall light cast by the mendie windows of the room. Ronwell grabbed the two-handed sword and grunted at the familiar weight of the heavy steel blade. He slid the weapon in the leather scabbard and strapped it to his belt. "Didn't think I'd be needing this again," Ronwell said. "Let's hope I'm not as rusty as this old blade." So armed, Ronwell turned to face the younger men and they headed for the front gate.
Oh, nope, I lied. Oh my gosh, gosh, I love the variety in these stories. So this year's theme, as y'all know, was Enter the Imaginarium, and I just feel like the level of
Really
imagination
nailed it, yeah.
was incredible. So many directions. Okay, so last winner in the middle school category. Who's our first place writer?
Well, our first place writer wrote what I would consider it to be an ode to oral storytelling. As I was reading it, I felt like I was attending like a story time. Like I felt like my mom was like telling me a story at bedtime. It was so cool, and it was so seamless and had a wonderful command of fairy tale voice. It's Once There Was a Boy by Ivy Marsden.
Woo! Congratulations.
You feel awkward, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, then we're good.
Oh, but always, I always feel awkward. All right.
Let me tell you the truth, little one. Not the truth, but a story that you must never forget. Once there was a boy, young and ambitious, a gleam in his eyes with the hope of changing everything for the better. Once there was a boy who shattered the world. His name is in history books. Mothers tell their children to fear him. Mothers warn their children never to make the same mistakes he did. Benjamin Bristol, he wore trouble like a crown. Once there was a boy who believed in everything he did, even once he realized that everything he did was wrong. He ended countless lives, little one. He destroyed the world that we have lived together so carefully. He crumpled it up like a piece of paper. He held more power than all of mankind together between his fingertips. Once there was a boy, his name was Benjamin Bristol, and he was a villain. He had dreams of being a hero, and no one knows why they turned around. Once there was a boy who made countless mistakes and was not forgiven. Now let me tell you the same story, little one, but let me tell it differently. You deserve to know what really happened.
Thank you, middle school. Okay, so we now get to honor 4 more young writers moving into our high school category. 2023 had the most high school stories submitted in 1 year in the history of the contest. So we've had the most older grades participating this year, which is rad. We had 94 total submissions in this category. So we get to hear from 4. And again, I want to honor all the other 90 writers who submitted because it's a big deal. And as lovely as this is, it's also important to never get too focused on the placement and the scoring. It's about the process, the creativity. So let's honor our honorable mention in this category. Who did it for us in the high school category?
So our honorable mention has written a poignant tale with a twist ending, and I put a pun in that description on purpose because it's The Bad Luck Cat by Elizabeth Johnston. Congratulations, you're so tall. I'm so short.
No, you're lovely. You're perfect. Both perfect. We'll make it the same height.
Yeah, in editing, it'll be good.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to read us from your essay?
Great. Okay, let's get it for you. And we are now, we're in a different stratosphere now.
We're in a different height bracket is what's going on here. Let's stop dividing it up by ages and grades. Let's divide it by height.
Yeah. Inside this house lived 2 unusual individuals. One was a foreigner from a far-off land, and the other was a cat with no land to call home. The cat's name was Amos. He lived in a cottage with an old lady named Greer. They lived comfortably together, but they were unwanted in town. Amos was bad luck, and the village people wanted nothing to do with him or the old lady he lived with. If he was bad luck, then she must be too. You see, Amos was a black cat, a bad omen of sorts. If he was standing in your windowsill or slinking through your backyard, then you should be prepared for a week of bad luck. If your horse got sick and died, then it could be traced back to the time Amos was spotted in your horse's stable. Amos felt terrible for spreading his bad luck.
Way to just jump in there, Elizabeth. I love it. Okay, Carolyn. Oops, sorry, not that. Okay, we only have 3 readers left. Okay, in third place in the high school category, we get to honor.
So this story is an emotional contemporary story with a really strong command of narrative voice. I was so impressed. It's June 2020, Deep Waters by Brianna Bird.
So some context in the book, the main character has just plunged over a waterfall and disaster ensues. That was awesome. The chocolate chips! We literally almost died. The chocolate chips! Jacob looked up to see his bag of chocolate, his treasure, sailing through the air. Eden looked on in horror, her heart hammering with the fear of the moment. Water. It was surrounding her. She was drowning in a sea of fears. Trust. Eden took one look at Jacob's face, at Rosalind's despair, and jumped over the side of the kayak as the chocolate chips hurtled towards the surface. For a terrible moment, everything was full of surf and flailing limbs. Eden's lungs felt a struggle combination of terror and icy river. The monster had unleashed its fury against trespassers, gnawing its jaws and slicing its serpentine curls about Eden's frame. Distant screams came to her from the silent struggle against the roar, the screams drowning beneath the turmoil. What had she been thinking? It would end her, down within the deep, no breath left to scream. And then, light stabbed through the waters, piercing the violence of the dark, and bringing up Eden through the waves, arising from the chaos. In her hand, she clasped the fruit of her labors, free at last from the serpent's watery grip.
Brianna Bird, what a wonderful author name. So many good names tonight. Let's see them all. All right. So, who's our second place winner in the high school category?
Our second place winner has written a chilling dystopian with inventive world building. It's Test Day by Emily Krause.
Woo, Emily.
My head is pounding, and I swear the butterflies in my stomach have turned to angry vultures, tearing me apart from the inside out. I walk from the doors of the train to the gray, looming buildings in front of me. A million thoughts rush into my brain, but one that seems to surface quite a bit is why. Why am I here, and whose sick, twisted joke to humanity was it to pit us against each other like animals? But then again, I wasn't there for the worst of it. The famine and the sickness that spread through cities like lightning, striking everywhere it touched. That's why they started the tests, I suppose, to try and control us, the modern take on population control. All you had to do was score in the top 45% of society and you were free to go on with your life. If you were in the bottom 55, well, you were taken away and never heard from again. It was the country's new way of saving humanity. All of these thoughts and a million more rush through my head as I walk in a single file line with all the other 16-year-olds here trying to earn their right in the world. We marched silently through the arching hallways past what felt like hundreds of big metal doors. I can't help but wonder if all the other testing facilities look the same or if they have a breath of color in them. We finally enter a huge amphitheater and sit in the hundreds of chairs laid out in front of a huge screen the size of a small house. I look around and see layers of balcony seats above. The entire building is completely silent and the cold air is filled with the smell of anxiety and sweat. It seems as though everyone is holding their breath, and when the screen at the front of the room finally clicks on, it's a relief.
Very exciting, and I'm very looking forward to reading it. Come on. I'm a poet, y'all, so I am just truly and endlessly impressed with the storytelling mind that is in this room tonight, and in general. So we get to bring up one more incredible young writer. Who is our first place winner?
Well, our first place winner has written a hauntingly resonant story of family, grief, and acceptance that made me cry. It is Why We Stay by Stella Hergenreeder.
The leaves that caked the path for the Gavelton Cemetery were slick against Rowan's large hiking boots. The large trees were peppered the area had long since lost their leaves, leaving the branches gaunt and bare. Low fog hung in the air, solidifying the melancholic atmosphere that clung to the dead like a disease. The dead were not an uncommon sight in a place like this. Rowan shivered into themselves as they attempted to further hunch into their coat, clutching desperately into the wilted bouquet in their hands. The path felt natural to them, as they had previously walked it more times than they could count, but the turning change of the season was starting to wear on them. Walking in silence for several minutes, Rowan stopped in front of a shiny headstone. It was new, lacking the wear of the overgrown commonly found at the other graves in the lot. A dirty teddy bear, soaked from the rain, was propped in the corner of the stone, and a molded flower stood at the base. Kneeling down, Rowan placed the flowers and perfected the placement of the bear. Maritza Moreno Escara, beloved sister, daughter, friend. Rowan stared at the headstone, arranging the items of the stone until they were perfectly propped, before rearranging it again a moment later. A grunt was heard from above them, and they turned to see the face of the elderly groundskeeper, Amos. "How long have you been here?" said Amos. "Not long. I just got here." "You've hardly left your sister's side since she passed," pressured Amos. "You need rest. Your poor mother must be worried." "I miss her," whispered Rowan, as if their grief was a secret only known to the two of them. "I can see every ghost in the graveyard. I can see you, but why can't I ever see Maritza?" Rowan had been able to see ghosts for as long as they could remember. It was a familial trait passed down from the mother's side. Most were haunting figures with disfigured forms and undeveloped features. Others, such as Amos, who had been dead for 3 years, had managed to keep their humanity and act almost human. Out of all of the spirits they encountered, Maritza was never one of them. "Maybe you've seen her and you just haven't realized it," questioned Amos. "There's no shortage of ghosts in the graveyard. Maybe she is one of them." "She isn't here," argued Rowan. "I would have known if my sister was one of them." Rowan curled up into themselves, face defiant and dejected. "I would know." Amos gave a small, pitying smile to the sitting child. "I'm sorry. If you say she's not here, I believe you." With minor difficulty, Amos moved towards the floor next to Rowan. He attempted to put a comforting hand on their shoulder, but Amos simply passed through Rowan's body as they connected. Rowan leaned against Amos, despite not giving any support, and sobbed into the older man's shoulders. Their voice hitched and shoulders heaved against them. "Why isn't she here? Why did she have to go?" Rowan sobbed. Amos ran a soothing hand through the air. "Everyone has to go eventually. Maritza finished everything she needed to do in this world, and so she left. Why was I not enough for her to stay?" "Of course not. You did everything right," soothed Amos. "Let's get you home. Your mother must be worried." Rowan nodded numbly into Amos's chest, allowing them to lead them out of the cemetery.
What wonderful depth and excitement and insight and ultimately just imagination we're all going to take home in these anthologies tonight. So I know your hands have already had a workout, but I'm going to ask this to one more time for everyone who has gotten up here and read or had their story read tonight. You did it! Give yourself a round of applause. Come on. In that clapping for ourselves, I'd like to acknowledge all the family, friend, guardian support, teacher support, administrator support that goes into this process. These things do not help, they never happen in isolation. So thank you so much to everyone who is really nurturing the love of writing for the young people in your life. It means everything to have someone see and acknowledge and encourage your creativity. So it is now my pleasure to get to introduce our keynote speaker. We did not just bring them here to smile, although she's been doing an amazing job all evening long. How are your cheeks?
You know, you're gonna have to go frown a lot after this. I'm gonna go do something upsetting.
Balance it out. Turn on the news.
Yeah, there we go.
So, Rosie's keynote is aptly entitled, Stories Are Magic. Rosiee Thor began their career as a storyteller by demanding to tell her mother bedtime stories instead of the other way around. Not a good parent support right there. They live in Oregon with a dog, 2 cats, and an abundance of plants. She is the author of Tarnished Are the Stars, Fire Becomes Her, Life is Strange, Steph's Story, and The Meaning of Pride. Let's welcome Rosiee to the podium. I like that you lowered it preemptively, because you know I'm so short. All right, well, it's been a real joy to be here with all of you. Like I said before, I read all of these stories pretty much in one sitting, and I felt so overwhelmed and inspired by all of them. I ended up writing my keynote pretty much directly after reading all of them and the overwhelming emotional experience that I had from the joy in all of these stories and the way that you all put so much of yourselves into them. So I'm going to read from my paper because I am not a great improviser, but hopefully you'll bear with me. I don't remember a time when I didn't want to be a storyteller. As it says in my bio, I used to make up stories about everything. Some people might call that being a compulsive liar. I call it being creatively charged. Everything can be a story if you try hard enough, and boy did I try. Pictures of fairies became long epics about magic and fairy politics. Trips to the airport with my parents turned into tales about orphans restarting their lives somewhere new. And bedtime stories told by my mother became my own. She just never knew how to tell them right, but luckily I was there to help out. Stories are magic. They are the impossible, the improbable. They are joy. It's why I'm still a storyteller today, and I hope it's part of why you are too. I wrote my first story in the 5th grade. It was about 2 girls who discovered their teacher was a witch. She was an English teacher, and her name was Miss Spell. My proclivity for puns started at a young age, as you can see. The villain was a thinly veiled copy of my own 5th grade teacher, who I didn't like very much. And I had the audacity to share the chapters with him anyway. It's about this time when telling someone about that book where I usually say that it wasn't very good. If I was feeling particularly nervous, I might say it more than once. It was terrible, it was so bad, just a heaping pile of garbage. But the truth is, I don't really think that. I just feel like I'm supposed to say it because I was young when I wrote it, and I've learned so much since then. Sure, my writing has improved. For example, I now know how to use a semicolon. I've also put in a lot of work to learn about story structure, broaden my vocabulary, and refine my wordsmithing skills. But I'm still not sure that first story wasn't in some ways the best thing I've ever done. The reason why? Because I was having fun. At some point between being a writer for pleasure and being a writer for work, I decided I could only do one of those 2 things. For some reason, I thought I couldn't create something good if I was enjoying it. This is untrue. One of the many lies I tell for a living. I was forced to confront that lie a few months ago when I was delivered a document with stories written by all of you, in fact. I don't get to read for fun very much anymore. Most of what I read is for work, and in fact, so were your stories. But from the moment I read the first line of the first story to the last line of the last story, I found myself smiling from ear to ear. It's been a long time since something energized me the way your stories did. I couldn't stop grinning. I thought about the characters for days after I finished reading, telling everyone in my life about the brilliant minds of the next generation. There was a creative freedom in what you wrote that made me feel so happy. It was as if I could feel the enjoyment you all felt while writing these stories as I read them. You harnessed the thing I've been searching for since I wrote my first story, joy. I've been thinking a lot about joy since then, about finding it again and allowing it to shape my writing. When I sit down to write, I think about how I felt reading your work. That's the feeling I want my readers to have. So I may stand here behind this podium today, but know that I look up to each and every one of you. It is a strange thing to judge creative work, as is my purpose here in this contest. Writing is not like a race where one person is inarguably faster than another, or a game of soccer where one team scores more than the other, or more often ties, as we now know from Ted Lasso. Thanks. Stories are not skyscrapers competing to be the tallest. They are more like stars. How bright they shine is different depending on where in the galaxy you are. Stories are subjective. Every single one has merit. You all have different strengths as writers, and that doesn't mean you are better or worse than one another. It just means you are different, and that is what storytelling is all about. There is, in our culture here in the United States, a tendency to assign value based on skill rather than on growth. I think often about the idea that we must be good at something in order for it to be worthwhile, about how we must be an expert in order to enjoy it. But I have had the most fun in my life for being bad at things. I love to learn, and there is no better place to grow from than the beginning. You are all at a beginning now. I challenge you to keep writing and keep learning, but most of all, keep enjoying what you do. It is more of a reward than you know. So today I have called some of your names to give awards that you have rightfully earned with your skill, your dedication, your humor, your creativity, and your joy. Remember, stories are magic, but so are you.
Thank you, Rosiee Thor. And you can connect with Rosiee in the back. They have books back there. But before anyone does anything else, I do have one final request. I'm going to say a couple things, but I have a final request that before any of our young writers leave, that you come up and we do one group picture with Rosiee. So we get to have all our winners together. Before I let you go, I do want to let you know we're going to do this contest again and again. So if you participated this year and you'd love to keep writing and participate again next year, it will open in October. And next year's theme is going to be Realm of Forgotten Dreams. Ooh, seeds planted. So in the meantime, if you'd like to join us for summer camp or for one of our monthly write clubs, all the info is here. You can ask any of us about it. Please take stickers. Please connect with us. Thank you so much to everyone who supports us. If you want to buy anthologies, they're in the back. If you want to connect with Rosiee, they're in the back. But young writers, before you leave, please come up for this big picture. And anyone who wants to get in on this picture, you can. Thank you one more. Oh, did I have one housekeeping? Oh, yeah, here we go. Hi, I'm Jo, the picture taker. You might have noticed me this evening once or twice. The library wants you to know that if you parked in the parking garage, when you go to leave, even though it may appear that the gate is closed, do not worry. Proceed forward in your vehicle and the gate will magically open and let you out. You are not trapped in the library all night, which may be fun, honestly.
Trapped in the library would be a great title for somebody's story next year.
Woo, okay, good to know. Okay, gates are magic, stories are magic, although trapped in the library, like trapped in the museum, all together does sound like it'd be an amazing party, but okay, here we go. One more round of applause.